when I really look at the problem that company of the elite solves, it's an identity thing,
right? Just, I provide for my family. Not enough, bro. Not enough. Excellent form of me is in the company of the elite.
The Lord is the strength of my house. Without trusting in Him and knowing Him and seeking Him, I don't have strength in my home.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Valley of the Heroic podcast. I want to jump straight in today because I am very excited for this podcast episode. And today we have a guest that I am excited to have a conversation with, my friend Chris, who's a relatively new friend, but somebody who I just really connected with and have hit it off with. And we have a really dope connection, bro. So I'm excited to have you on today to go through your life story and see what God has done. So I want to start off with this because we both have that Pentecostal background.
Okay.
Tell me, what's your best crazy Pentecostal experience story from your childhood, teen years in the church? Because I know you got a good one, because we all do.
There was, I think the things that always stick out to me the most are, like, if anyone listening has done, like, vigilias, right? Like, you know, a vigilia and, lock-ins, or some of the, more American churches will call them, or vigils. I remember going, and my mom would, like, pack me, like, food. Like, she would bring, like, the bowl, like, the bowls. I remember she would bring, like, the bowls from, like, our house and, like, pack food in there. And
how old were you?
I might have been 10 years old, I think, at the time. So that's one. I just remember that, and everyone was, like, making fun of me because, like, because I had food. I had legit food. My mom would pack, like, salchichas and, like, snacks. God. Bro, it'd be like 3 a.m, and I'm sitting there in the sanctuary eating salchichas.
They were all mad that they didn't have snacks.
Bro,
like
I had cereal, but it totally defeated the purpose of Vigilia, like, trying to get into, and I'm busy there with, like, a pillow. I'm like, yo, here we go, Lord. Like, let's lay down. And I think the second one, oh my gosh, was we went to a church in New York one time. I don't remember exactly what the church was, but I know I was a teenager by this time, and it was like one of those, like, old school, we would say, like, rajatabla, right? Like fire and brimstone, Pentecostal churches. But this place was a little bit out of control. It was wild. Like, there was no order there.
Yeah. And
I remember standing up on the balcony and seeing people, women specifically, climbing over the pews, right? And this was like, those church pews are hard. They're, like, drilled into the floor, right? It's not like chairs. Yeah. So, like, stepping over the pews to, like, pray for people. You got, somebody slaying the spirit over here. Somebody's like doing their, they're screaming. There's everybody speaking in tongues. Just totally out of control. No order. But I remember the one specific lady. It was like an old Hispanic lady. I remember she had, like, a long braid, right? Because you're Pentecostal, you can't cut your hair. In her jean skirt, stepping over the pews. But she's, like, walking over the pews like a kid. Like, if you was a toddler there, stepping over, going to pray for people. I think those are some of the craziest, like, Pentecostal experiences.
In my mind, she's, like, gliding over the...
She might have been, and I just remember her stepping. But, yeah, those were some key moments that stand out to me in my Pentecostalness.
You just reminded me of a time we had our own church, but my mom would sometimes take us to, like, random crusades that churches were having, like other Pentecostal churches, or just like a vigilia, or like some healing service, whatever, right? So we'd go every once in a while. My mom would be like, "Oh, who wants to go?" And I had a small group since I was 12, so it was like sometimes 20 of us deep.
How you a small person leading a small group? You're 12 years old. That's wild.
Yeah, a small person leading a small group, right? The way it all happened was crazy too. But anyway, so we would go, and this was one when we were probably more like 16, 17 maybe, which is so funny because I wonder how those people in the church would perceive it when this little Puerto Rican lady would walk in with like 10, 20 youth sometimes, but all like in long white tees, earrings, and like hood as heck coming into the church. They'd be like, probably like, what is going on? Who is this lady? Number one, because obviously they're going to look at my mom and and see the only adult, and then see all of us and be like, what is going on? So we went to one. I remember specifically it was in a church in Elizabeth. I think it was like Tito de Rocco's church or something like that. And we went for a service, and at the end of the service, you already know they're gonna pray for you, and people gonna get slain in the spirit, speak in tongues, the whole nine.
They're gonna pull the modesty cloths out.
Yeah. The modesty cloths. So I had a friend. I won't say his name because I don't know if he'd mind, but he's really, really funny cat, right? And we all, or at least most of us, didn't really care for the whole thing when somebody was praying for you, but they would like try to like force you down.
Yeah.
Like I guess it was like an ego thing, rather than like lightly touch your head, and if you get slain in the spirit, you get slain in the spirit, right? So that day, somebody that was praying had a heavy hand.
Oh gosh.
So he was like praying for my boy, and my boy refused. You know, most people they just let themselves fall, and then you just do that.
you just sit there. You just like, Lord.
You just like, how long do I have to lay here and pretend, right? Most people, not my boy. My boy was like, nah, if I'm not falling, I'm not falling, right? Bro, he's literally pushing on his head, and my boy's just going backwards like this. Walking backwards. He said,
I ain't gonna fall.
On the whole, like, around, like, the whole person. Like, he's not looking back either, too. But he's just going back, just, like, refusing to fall. And that's how hard he's pushing him. And eventually, I guess the guy gave up. But just the visual of my boy, like, walking backwards and, like, waving his arms to keep his balance.
That's crazy. I would have hit the football stance. You ain't moving me.
Bro, oh my goodness. I tell you, man, sometimes some crazy stuff happened. Like some beautiful stuff, but definitely some really, really crazy stuff, bro. Just where I was like, I don't know if this is glorifying God. But but bro, yo, I'm excited to really jump into your story today. Obviously, one of the things that we really connect in is just at least for me personally, centers actually around a lot about your brand, right? You have a brand called Company of the Elite, which is all centered around men being elite, right? Yeah. Men being the best version of themselves. And that really resonates with me. It's a way that you carry yourself, in a way that you live your life. The conversations we've had pertaining to that and how that affects our day to day, we've both been able to kind of like sharpen each other in that area, which I really love and has, I think, really contributed to us getting tight very quickly. But I'm curious, like, I know that life had to take you through some things to get there.
Yeah. Right.
You wasn't that 10-year-old popular just like, I need to be an elite man for the Lord.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my God.
Yeah. Right. Because we all go through our things. And I definitely was not, like some people might hear, 12 years old, leading a small group. Wow, you've been in ministry that long. No, I was not elite. I did love the Lord. I did eventually love serving in ministry. But I went through some things, so it took a while for me to get to where I am today, and I still am a work in progress, which I'm sure you would agree for yourself. But man, I love to just jump into those like early years of who was Chris, what did you go through, and or let's start off with like, were you saved your whole life or?
No, I was not saved my whole life. I mean, depending on how you look at it, yes, I was. I got saved when
you grew up in the church.
Kind of, yeah. Like I started going to church when I was about 8 years old, basically, right? So, 7 or 8 years old, and I was 7 years old when I got saved. And that was, I think I kind of had gone into that before, right? Like I was, to go a little bit deeper, right? I was, my father was a Santero, doing Santeria, and I was actually baptized into Santeria, and I guess the goal was for me to like follow in my dad's footsteps or whatever. So once we started going back to church, my mom started going back to church. She recommitted her life to God. She felt the Lord tell her like, give him back to me. So I remember it as clear as day. I remember being in my mom's bedroom, watching TV, watching the TV in her room, or playing Sega Genesis at the time. Dating myself there. And her to asking me like if I wanted to accept the Lord. And I remember, I did accept the Lord, and I I can't say I remember every single thing that happened
Right.
from that point, but like I remember small encounters with God. I remember small things and like just how God would show up in just different points in my life. And even just like things leading up to like starting Company of the Elite. I grew up around the same time that we started going back to church. My mom and dad split. Yeah. So my father and I have had
they were oil and water at that stage.
Oh yeah, 100%. Always had a rocky relationship since then, unfortunately. And we've done our best to try and resolve it. But when someone refuses to kind of see the error of their ways and things like that, it's hard. It doesn't matter how honest you try to be with them.
Yeah.
But and growing up single mom, right, was myself and my two brothers. I have two older brothers. They're twins, right? So being the younger sibling to twins is not easy. It's not easy, especially twins that are 10 years older than you.
Oh wow.
So I didn't feel like I had a real relationship with my brothers until I was in my 20s. Before that, I was just like the little brother, right?
Yeah.
Because we didn't have nothing much in common. Like literally, they were a whole decade ahead of me.
Yeah, 10 years is a big gap.
Yeah, that's a huge gap, right? So it wasn't until I got
when you were eating salchichas, they were
20. They was out in the streets. Yeah, yeah, facts. That's what the salchicha. I'm not gonna let that down. But I there were a lot of things that I realized were missing from my life. And by the grace of God, a lot of men stepped in and filled a gap that was very much needed, right? And, you can never underestimate the role that a man will play in a boy's life.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, I still think up until now, I still think there's a lot of people who really underestimate the value. Overall, yes, to a family, but to a boy, having a dad or a father figure to look up to does a lot. And there were like some men that really stepped in, one of whom I just recently lost last week.
Yeah.
Just passed after battling sickness for a long time. I got the pleasure of being able to go and say my goodbyes to him and spend time with like my family that was down there. But being able to see those examples and being able to really see what it is and what it was to be a man who was just pursuing God and a man who was seeking God. And then I kind of lost my way for a bit, I had some weird years in my 20s that I was kind of like, what Lord, what's going on? And then in 2015, life took a big turn for me. It was just like everything that could go wrong went wrong in like a year. I made some very bad financial decisions. Ended up losing my apartment. I lost my apartment and my car.
Wow.
All within like 6 months of each other.
Jeez.
And it was like, and there was no reason to like that. There was really no reason to, right? I was working in advertising at the time. I had a pretty decent salary for a 25-year-old. And that ended up kind of go back to live with my mom for a while. And I really just had to really buckle down and see what it was that I wanted, right? And what I wanted to do, I wanted to be a man that honored God, right? So in 2017, I proposed to my wife, my girlfriend at the time, proposed to her, and then we got married in 2018. Shortly after that, we started to look for another church, not because anything was going on, nothing specifically was going on at our church. It was just like, man, we just felt like the Lord was kind of leading us a place that just kind of, I don't want to say fit our needs, right? But a place that we're frankly just younger, right? We're looking for a lot of younger couples, right? We want to start a family. And I found the church
that's huge. Like, don't discount that, because when you're a new married couple, and especially when you start having kids too, it's like some of those things really become values for you. Are they like salvific issues? No,
not at all.
But like, I always there's those people who really like advocate for something like that, where they would be like, well, that's not a reason to leave the church or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it's also doesn't always have to be like a negative experience to move from one church to another. Sometimes your needs are just shifting, your family's changing, you're changing as a person. You do have needs as spiritually that would help you to grow more efficiently or better. It's like there's wisdom in that,
Yeah.
right? You know, and it doesn't always have to be que fue un escándalo. Like there was like this huge thing that happened, and the pastor was doing something with the secretary, like all that crazy stuff. Like it doesn't always have to be that.
I think in the beginning, everyone kind of assumed that something happened.
Right.
And
usually they do, like because they think that that's the only reason that you can make a life change like that. Yeah. But I don't necessarily agree with that. You know, I think that, granted, I think that it's a serious decision, right? But like you can leave amicably. Like me and my wife Joanna, we left our church very amicably. We still are close friends with many of the people that go there. We've visited in since we left. Yeah. And everybody there was like, hey, blah, blah. Like they love to see us, you know. And I think it's largely due to like the way we went above and beyond to communicate. Yeah. But like even sometimes you still do that. Still people get weird. So it's also maturity on their part. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. Go ahead.
No, but I think that's good to say because that's why I'm careful to say. Not that it didn't fit my needs, but I think we were just in a different place as a family. Like young family, like it was just me and Vanessa. My daughter wasn't born yet, so we were like, man, like we just wanted younger couples to just be around, right? To start building community.
And you know what's the other thing? Like think about it like this way too. Like God is our Father. He's not like up there like, no, you need to make this work. You know what I'm saying? But the inverse to that too is like a lot of people really got beef with like certain types of churches or there being a lot of churches, mega churches, small churches.
Yeah.
Like, but the more churches there are, it's actually the better because there is a church for everybody. Yeah. Some people would really, really thrive in a small church. Some people could do really, really well in a large church. Then you throw seasons into the mix. Some people need this for a season, that for a season.
Exactly.
And God is wise. Like if we're really looking at the church worldwide, and if that's how God sees it, he sees the church as his bride and it's not buildings, it's all of us collectively. Yeah. It only makes sense that he would say, you know what, I'm going to move this person here because for this season of their life, this is what they need.
Yeah, no, and that's 100%. I think that was it exactly. So it's kind of fast forwarding through a bit, right? We ended up at the church that we're at now, Transform Church, because Vanessa's sorority sister was going there. We actually lived like a few blocks away from the church at the time. We would drive by and be like, oh man, we gotta check it out. And then during COVID, we actually got the chance to really listen to some services. And then, you know, we weren't really going to church too much because we didn't know what the heck was going on. My daughter was just born at the time, so we were super cautious, right? Washing all our groceries and, you know, what a time, right? You know, washing groceries and
we had a COVID baby. Our COVID baby was the first one too.
Oh yeah, that's rough, right? And it was smacking right in the beginning of COVID. But yeah, so once everything opened up, we went to visit, and I remember what really got me was I went to Men's Transform. That was what really got me. I went down that first night. I remember going in there and like leaning against the wall, and I was like, okay, what's this about? You know, like what's going on here? What's like, what kind of weird stuff y'all gonna sell me? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Like what y'all up to over here, right? I remember someone coming up to me. His name is Tanny. And Tanny came up to me and he was asking me just like, hey, how are you? Is this your first time here? I'm like, yeah, man. Obviously, I kept my answer short. I'm like, yeah, my first time. Yep. You know, real short. I was like, what you, you know, like keeping you at a distance. And he was like asking me questions about what I do, but it was like genuine, like, and then like you could tell when someone's genuinely listening and then asking follow-up questions based on what you said, right? A good conversation. Yeah. And I was like, oh, he cares. And I remember sitting in that night and I sat in, they put me in a group of people who were there for the first time. And this was the first time I had seen something like this. It was like 180 guys. And I was like, what is happening here? 180 men and at that time, I think it was only Wednesdays.
Okay.
On a Wednesday night, I'm like, yo, what the heck is going on here?
Men's Transform plug Mondays and Wednesdays.
Plug in.
7 p.m. Lyndhurst, New Jersey.
Hey,
if you need the plug, let us know.
Transformchurch.com. There you go. But yeah, you know, and we like I went and I did the class that night, and I remember I came home and my wife was like tell me about it, how it went. I remember telling her this was so different. It was so different than any other men's group I had been in. Like all the men were honest. Like it was, and it was all ages. It wasn't just like men of like, it wasn't just me, like, you know, my age group. There was someone in their 60s or someone like older. There was like people, it was like the entire like spectrum of ages and ethnicities, which for me was like, wow, you know, coming from a church that was predominantly like Hispanic.
Yeah.
It was like all types of people that I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I've never seen this before. And I remember specifically telling my wife, like, this feels like it's a moving train that if we don't get on this train, we're going to miss what's happening. And I don't remember what month that was in, but like that December, or no, a little bit later on that year, my wife and I, we were like, okay, I think we're officially going to kind of step away from our old church, right? So we had the conversation with the pastors, and you know, it was amicable, right? Like, like I was literally just with her this past week. She was down there in Florida with us. I still see them all the time. Like my daughter, like she loves them. Like, you know, there's still a relationship there because they were my pastor since I was 7 years old, right? Like, how can it not be? And so I think if anything really allowed me to kind of see the vision for Company of the Elite, it was men's transform men. And seeing the men in there, I think that first season of Transform Men changed me in ways that I sometimes I don't even have the words to think, right? I thought I had it together, right? I thought I was doing well, right? We had been married already for 2 years. And then I found out that my communication was actually trash. You know what I'm saying? I thought
that's real.
Yeah. And you when you see other people doing what you're doing and that's not working, you're like, oh, that's a problem because that's what I do. And it doesn't work. Right. So allowing me to be vulnerable, right. And even being able to pull guys aside, be like, yo, I had this going on. Like, how did you handle it? Yeah. Like, how can I glean? What can I glean off of you that you've done this already to get that right? And you don't see that too often.
Pull somebody over and be like, yo, my wife is Latina. Yeah. What do I do?
Basically, right? Yeah. Like, yeah, my wife, I'm married to a Hispanic. It's going to be crazy. No, but just, you know, being able to get the wisdom, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, in the word, it talks about, you know, my God, the Apostle Paul having someone pour into him and then someone that he poured into. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to have it from, you know, your cup overflows, but where it overflows, where's it going to go afterwards? Right. Wow. So someone's pouring into me and I'm pouring into someone else. And that's just how Transform has been for me. And then, you know, we talk about, Pastor Anthony always talks about the 4 quadrants, right? Physical, spiritual, relational, financial. And, you know, again, those are things that really just stuck with me. And really, no pun intended, transformed who I was in kind of the way that I've taught and allowed me to be more, I guess, introspective and really look at the things that I'm doing and the way that I conduct myself and the way that I carry myself. All that to say, going into back to the company of the Elite, it was a design that I was sitting on. You know, we use a verse a lot in Transform Men, Micah 4, 6, and 7. On that great day, the Lord says, you know, I will rise up all the bruised and battered, everyone that bruised and tarnished, and transform them into the company of the elite. And that verse always stuck with me. I definitely butchered it, which is terrible. But Eric's gonna put it up right here, Micah 4, 6, and 7. But I specifically the company of the elite part really stuck with me, and I made a design, and I had just had it in a file, and I was kind of sitting on it, and I just didn't do anything with it. And I was like, Lord, what is this for, right? And I remember coming back from 252 that for 1 year, which is 252 is our men's conference, 252men.tv. Check it out. It's the men's conference, and I remember God just prompted me, like, take this and run with it. Now, I didn't know anything about building a brand. I didn't know anything about making clothes. So I basically took that entire summer and taught myself everything there was to know about clothes. I got the LLC, I got bank accounts, I got my sales tax stuff, did all that thing, and basically launched my first collection by September. But yeah, that's kind of how Company of the Elite came to be. Yeah.
What year was that you launched? 2023. Okay. Wow, man. One of the things that really stands out to me just is like, I guess how we've approached it so far is the power that comes from present men. Yeah. Men who are willing to do hard work. I heard this quote the other day that messed me up. It was like something along the lines of men used to go to war. Now they sit scrolling on their phones while their children play in front of them or something like that. Oh my gosh. I was just like, yeah. Like, like I was like, oh man, like, like I was the next time I'm tempted to lift my phone in my
facts.
home, it's like nah. And I've been going through some like crazy internal work lately, with a lot of the same. So a lot of this like really resonates with me. But one of the things that I'm thinking of is like, I wonder specifically tied to your story.
Yeah.
What issue, what problem are you solving that wasn't solved for you with Company of the Elite?
I think when I really look at the problem that Company of the Elite solves, it's an identity thing. It's reminding men that what you're called to is higher than you, right? That what you're called to is more than just let me go to work and let me make the money and let me just be a paycheck, right? Let me just be a provider, right? Because I think that's what a lot of men get caught up in. But so the motto of the brand is Christ is our compass, excellence as our standard, right? Because I believe in doing everything in excellence, being a reflection of God. Right. And that doesn't mean that you have to do it perfectly every single time. But if I'm giving 110% to every single thing, right, then that honors God. Yeah. Especially when I keep him at the forefront, when I keep Christ as my compass. If he's the one guiding me, then I'm naturally going to want to do it to the level of excellence. Right. Yeah. So that's why it's Christ is your compass and then excellence is your standard. And I think, and that's what I think it really boils down to is like, what is your identity as a Christian man? Your identity is rooted in him. Yeah. If I don't have God at the forefront, if I don't have God leading me and showing me the way, then I'm just picking and popping from all these things. Oh, let me get a little bit of this, right? I'm a little bit of Joe Rogan. I'm a little bit of this guy here. Yeah. I'm a little bit of that person here, right? You know, it seems like there's a lot of men who have just become this weird amalgamation of all the celebrity or influencer male voices. Yeah. Instead of it being just who God has called you to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can listen to all the podcasts in the world. You can listen to all the things in the world. But unless you get your face in the word, unless you put God first, right? Everything goes under him. Everything needs to be put in order under him. You're never going to know who you truly are. And when you learn who you truly are, that's when things start to go a lot better for you, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm just following him. I'm just doing what God wants to do, right? And as hard as it may be, it's not easy, right? Right. Even though we say in Transform Men, right? Is it going to be easy? No, but it's going to be worth it. Yeah. Heck yeah, it's going to be worth it, man. Because when you do things the Lord's way, you're going to go through some things. You're going to go through some problems. But to see where God takes you, and I know that my identity is rooted in him. I am a son of God. I am called to be, I'm the priest of my home, but I'm also just a little boy sitting at my dad's feet. Wow. I'm also just I'm just looking for the affirmation of my father. I'm just looking for my father to look at me and say, like, you're doing a good job. Right? And sometimes you just, oh, Lord, like, thank you just for reminding me that I'm doing a good job. Thank you for reminding me that I'm keeping you first, right? Thank you for reminding me that there's a different standard that I have to live by, right? I'm not perfect. I'm not better than anyone else. I just have to do things differently. I have to carry myself a little bit differently. I have to speak a little bit differently. Can't involve myself in all the things, right? One of the biggest things that I always go back to was in college, I worked at Trader Joe's. And they did my review, and one of my managers told me that I never participate in gossip. That was one of the feedback. First of all, I didn't even think they were paying attention, right? That they would watch. But to see that was a feedback point in my review was kind of crazy. And that they were watching kind of my conduct. They weren't just watching how I behaved as an employee, but they were watching just like my personal conduct. Wow. How I spoke with the people who were around me, right? And at that time, I was still a little wishy-washy with my relationship with the Lord, but I knew who I needed to be, and I always carried myself down. I always knew, right? I always tell my wife, right? You always want to try to be above reproach. You never want to have someone be able to call you out and say, "Oh, I saw you doing this," or "But you're not talking that." Not that you're not being fake, right? But you gotta edit yourself, right? You have to look and be like, "Oh, I can't do that. I can't talk this way. I know y'all are talking crazy here, but I can't talk that way with you." Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, man. I one of the things I love that you said, and I really love a lot, is just how excellence is the standard. Specifically pertaining to the part that you said about men getting stuck in just being providers. Yeah. And the reason why I say that is because there's two things I think of. One, I think that naturally that's a core part of our personality as men, that is kind of just like
Yeah.
in there already. You already know biologically, your body knows this is my family. I need to provide.
Yeah.
And the thing about things that come to you naturally, if you do them well, you'll confuse that for excellence. But doing what comes to you well naturally doesn't coincide with excellence. Excellence is about a standard that is outside of yourself.
Yeah.
So that would basically come in as the bare minimum, because if you can't even do well what comes to you naturally, then you're not doing the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Right? You're not doing what has been set forth before you as quote unquote easy to do.
Yeah.
Not that it's easy, but quote unquote easy to do, because it's laid out before you.
Yeah.
In a sense, God made us this way. He's like, I'm going to make men want to provide for their families. So a man who's not a provider really has to examine himself, because he's not even meeting the bare minimum of who he is. Are you going to go through seasons where you can't provide as well?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Of course.
That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is, if you lack ambition, you lack the drive and the desire, the ideas, the creativity, the all the things that are necessary for you to be able to do that, then you have to examine yourself. There could be a mental health issue. There could be a heart issue. There could be some stuff that you need to navigate with a therapist. There's so much there,
Yeah, that's
right?
100%. Yeah.
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 But that is bare minimum.
Yeah.
And again, if we confuse what we do well naturally with excellence, we've missed the point. Excellence is a standard that goes above and beyond ourselves. And so I think about that in light of what you said about the providing part. The second thing I think about regarding that is that I think a lot of times another thing that we confuse with excellence is doing better than those who preceded us. And as men, we specifically point to the male standard that we all inherit, which is our father.
Yeah.
If I can just do better than my father, I
better.
think I am being excellent. No.
Yeah. That's so true. That's
No.
so true. Yeah.
Because that's another example of us doing well at what is naturally before us. Because I believe that like 99% of people are going to naturally, if they apply nothing of themselves, no like extra gusto, no like nothing extra, they just live their life, they will naturally, just by I don't know what it is, but you will just naturally do better.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's just 1% better, you're just going to be like, yo, that was trash. Why did you do that?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that, right? Like, naturally, we're all going to do better. And, bro, this is challenging me right now. So I'm like speaking to myself.
Yeah.
I just want to make that clear. You're going to naturally do better.
Yeah.
But are you doing excellent? Is a totally different question.
That's so true. And like I just go and echo exactly what you said. I just go back to my father. Like, by just being married and not cheating on my wife, I'm technically already being better.
Yeah.
And
you can confuse that for excellence.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I
Like,
think,
you can let that be your standard.
Yeah.
But when excellence is your standard, now we're having a completely different conversation, because what is excellent for Chris?
Yeah.
What is excellent for Eric?
Yeah.
And if I'm honest with myself and I'm like, what is an excellent form of me?
Yeah.
What am I actually capable of? Knowing that just by happenstance of being a limited human being, I'm always going to shoot short of what I'm actually capable of.
Yeah.
So if I try to like push myself to my limits in my mind, there might be some things that are wrong, like where I'm like probably expecting too much from myself from an unhealthy place. But generally speaking, if I push myself to the max in my mind, I'm probably still falling short of what I'm actually capable of, especially with the indwelling of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Am I achieving that? Yeah. And that's not a question to like badmouth ourselves or to put ourselves down. Nah, bro, take that and get some fire in your belly with it.
Yeah.
Like, take that and be like, I'm not, and I'm going to do something about it. Take that and stop taking just doing better as enough, right? Just, I provide for my family.
That's good.
Not enough, bro.
Yeah.
Not enough. Take that and say, the most excellent form of me is not just doing better. The most excellent form of me is in the company of the elite.
Yeah.
Like, when I look around me, it is the most elite of men in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah.
Men spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically.
Yeah.
If I look around me, that's what I see.
Yeah.
And if you don't 100%. See that yet, then let's get some drive in there and be like, yo, I'm about to get this done.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is, man. Like, just like you said, like, yeah, just by getting a job and paying the bills, like, you could be doing better. But again, what standard are you going to raise that to? How am I going to be an excellent husband? Right, an excellent husband. Am I considering? Am I learning how to have conversations with my wife? Am I learning her love language? Am I learning how to help carry the mental load? Am I learning how to properly father my kids? How to seek the Lord's guidance for how to father my kids? Right, you know, how to steward the wife that He gave me. How to steward whatever business or thing that God gives you, and that's what it comes down to, right? And then who you surround yourself with, right? You know, I think that's the community that I'm trying to build, like men that want to be surrounded by better men.
Yeah.
Not be surrounded just be surrounded by other men, but men who want to be surrounded by men who are doing, I can look at him and say, I want to be doing, you shouldn't strive to doing exactly what they do, but I want to do it to the level that you're doing at. I see what you're doing. That's dope. How can I glean some of that? How can I take what you're doing there and sharpen this area of my life, right? Like, how can I sharpen myself spiritually, physically, financially, right? All those, relationally, all those areas.
Yeah.
How can I sharpen myself so that I'm at this elite level, right? And this is not like an elite, like alpha male, like macho, you know, I'm going to be, right, you know, all this crazy stuff, red pill, blue pill, all those conversations.
Yeah.
This is elite as in I am the highest form of myself.
Yeah.
With God.
Yeah.
Right, because you cannot reach your highest form of yourself without God. Right, and when I say form, again, this is not like some weird thing. It's just like I'm just being the best version of myself.
Yeah.
But the best version of yourself does not come without God. Right, and I feel like you got to say that now because so many people are like stuck in this self-help Christianity.
Yeah.
Where it's like, Lord, it's good, you know, I'm just gonna be me and speak my truth and be this man and do all this thing and oh, it's such a load of crap, man. It's such a load of crap. It's such a load of crap. And like, excuse me for saying that, man. If anybody offended it, oh well. But but it's the truth, man. Like, it's such a load of crap. People that are just like, oh, that I'm enough. You're not. You're not enough, because if you were enough, you wouldn't need God.
Yep.
You're absolutely not enough. You need God to get you through these things.
Yeah.
Right. And God, you know, the biggest of God's not going to give you something you can't handle. No, that's not true either. Yep. He's going to give you things that you can't handle because it's not about you.
Yep.
It's about you going to Him.
Yeah.
Right. And when you
learning to go to Him.
Yes. When you learn how to go to Him and say, Lord, this problem is bigger than me. God, this is bigger than everything I have. Right. I'm at the end of my rope. I'm at the end of myself. God, I need you. Right. We pray that sometimes we don't get to the end of ourselves. Right. That we learn how to give it up to Him earlier.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you know, sometimes it takes a while to learn that lesson, man. When you get to that point that you're just like, Lord, I can't do it without you, then the Lord can start to elevate you.
Yeah.
Can start to elevate the different parts. He's like, oh, cool. Now walk with me through this. And you're going to see God, how God's moving through all these things and all these different levels of your life. And you're like, Lord, thank you. Because now I'm elevated. Now I'm at a different level. I'm at a different level of understanding. I'm at a different level of trust in you. And now my spiritual life is just going up. Because now I know that you're a God who sees, right? You're a God who delivers. You're a God who loves, a God who cares, a God who provides. You know, you're going to scold me sometimes when I'm not doing things the way I need to be doing it. But at the end of the day, you are still my Father. And it's the Father aspect that we forget sometimes, that He's not just a big sky person sitting up there. Like, He wants to be your Father. Mm-hmm. Right? And what does a father do? A father is there. He's protecting. You know, Pastor Anthony always says, our pastor always says, the father is the strength of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The Lord is the strength of my house. Without trusting in Him and knowing Him and seeking Him, I don't have strength in my home.
Right.
But me physically, I can only do so much.
Right.
Right. My spirit can only take so much. But when I hand it over to God, He can do it all. He can handle it all. You know what I'm saying? So.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I just wanted to interrupt you very quick for a moment
just to talk to you about Patreon. Now, Patreon is simply a place where we can post additional content, behind the scenes stuff, extra stuff, ideas that you guys might be coming up with. And really what it comes down to is it's another way for you to support us financially. Now, Valley of the Heroic is run as a digital ministry, and many of you are so part of what we are doing here by supporting, by watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. If you didn't hit that subscribe button, you better do so right now. But some of you might be looking for a way to get more involved, and that would be the logical next step. Supporting through Patreon or through any other way will help us to continue to put this content together for you, and hopefully in the future for us to continue to grow and expand our efforts to reach more people in more beautiful ways and continue to help Valley of the Heroic to grow. So before I continue to ramble, I just wanted to tell you guys that and invite you to take a look at the Patreon page. If you have any questions, shoot me a message somewhere, either through Instagram or leave a comment down below. And if you feel led by the Holy Spirit to do so, become a member. God bless you guys. Talk to you soon. Peace.
It's crazy how sometimes we really do have to come to the end of ourselves just to be able to be on an even playing field for God to show us, like, okay, now are you going to come to me?
Yeah.
Excuse me. And so, like, granted, again, like you said, I wish we would just go to him early.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have to deal with it. But there's so many times, there's so many things that we don't even know about ourselves and how much we need him, that he will allow more than you can bear so that you finally get to the point where you're on your knees and you pray.
Yeah.
Because if not, unfortunately, in this broken world, without sometimes this pain, we're not going to even come to him.
Yeah.
Like we just, I don't know, something about the human condition that we just always go back to it, you know? And even talking about like what we were talking about before, just about how you're going to naturally do better and you're going to naturally do certain things as a man that get slightly better than your dad, right? Yeah. Like the father whose father he never knew is the father who at the very least sticks around for after the divorce.
Yeah.
The father of the father who stuck around after the divorce will at least stay in the house, but isn't the present dad.
Yeah.
The father that's always the present dad, but he was always like drinking and didn't go above and beyond, is a dad who works hard and provides. The dad who works hard and provides, his son is the one who takes the kids to the games, but still probably yells too much. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it keeps getting better, but it's still not excellent.
Yeah.
You know, and then somewhere in there it gets reset. Yeah. Because something happens, like somebody gets worse or something, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like the boat that doesn't consistently check if it is on course is always in danger of getting off of it.
That's good.
Always. Yeah. You have to check. If you're not sure that you're going in the right direction, like I know you've probably heard this because I've heard it in multiple sermons. A lot of people have talked about how if a boat gets 1 degree off, or a plane, is it
either
a
one?
plane?
I think boat, either
one of
one.
them too, right? If they only get 1 degree off, you end up in a completely different place,
miles away. Yeah.
Exactly. Like you're not gonna. If you have a certain standard that you're aiming for as a man, as a husband, as a father, and you kind of know that you want, like you know that your standard is excellence, but you don't know where that target is, so you have no way of course correcting. How do you course correct? You have to be able to compare your map to somebody else's. Yeah. So if you're constantly living on an island and you have no way to compare your information, you have nobody else to talk to, is my point. You're just that, like most men, you're just like, nah, I got this. Yeah. I don't need anybody else.
It's so dumb. I'm going to look right to the camera and talk to every single man. You cannot do it by yourself.
Bro, ask any of them if they could do their job by themselves.
No.
Completely, totally alone. And like, for example, like me, I run a video content production company, right? Yeah. Yes, I do run my company, quote unquote, by myself, right? But who did I learn from?
Yeah, you had somebody.
Who do I compare my work to?
Yeah.
How am I growing? Who am I talking to? When I have a job, we just did a job together recently, right? I literally could have done both jobs, but it would have been a nightmare, would have been a headache, and both of them would have been less good because I wasn't focusing on one thing. And if I have to take away all the years of experience that were built up in this field that I could not glean off of because I chose to just figure it out myself, boy, my work would have been chopped for so many years.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's the comparing of maps.
Yeah.
Now, also talking to other people in the field, one of my biggest levels of growth in my work was through talking to somebody who was like 3-4 years ahead of me. Somebody who nailed the marketing side and understood it, which was my weak area. Yeah. Talking to him and him teaching me about how to do sales in a way that resonates with me as a Christian, as a man who hated sales and thinks of the scummy car salesman, right? Like that's what I thought sales was. I thought you're just trying to manipulate people into buying, not realizing that sales is service. And now because I have that, it unlocked a whole different thing for me, right? I wouldn't get there by myself, or it would take me my whole life. And I would just keep doing business thinking like, I hope people just come by and want to buy my video services. No, that's not how it works. Yeah. That's not how it works, bro. And so like, if you're like, oh, I want to be a better husband. I do. I want to be a better husband. Yeah. I want to be a better dad.
What are you going to do about it?
Right? Yeah. Like, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Where are you getting your information from? Yeah. Who can check you?
That's right.
When you're when you're messing up and think communication isn't good between you and your wife, who do you compare notes with?
Yeah. Yeah, you have to be.
Do you have somebody? Some people genuinely don't have somebody, and it's unfortunate because they wish they did. And I pray for them that God would provide those people, right? Yeah. But a lot of people have people available to them, like places they could go, or they haven't even tried to look. They think it's not available to them, but they haven't tried to look. Yeah. And it's like, bro, you're wasting time. So
much freaking time, man. It's the accountability aspect. And shout out to John Porras if you're watching. He posted something the other day about like, you know, everybody wants accountability till the accountability comes and calls you out. Right? Like accountability is not a pat in the back. Hey, you're doing a good job. Like, no, man. You need someone to tell you like that was dumb.
Yeah.
That was really stupid what you did. And you gotta take it. And you're like, oh, and you have to sit there and you gotta say, damn, like what I did was dumb and was stupid. And I just gotta suck it up and just apologize to my wife.
Yep.
And go buy the flowers and say I'm sorry instead of trying to be right. Wanting to prove that I'm right. I got this. I'm right. You know, it's like you have to, you got to be willing to put in work. You have to be willing to put the work and accept the criticism. You know, I think you and I, especially being in creative fields, I think we could probably accept criticism more, better than most people.
Yeah, it is hard for a lot of people.
Because our jobs are about having our work, are basically what are part of ourselves critiqued.
Yeah.
But sometimes people say some things, you're like, ooh, like I didn't like that. I don't like how that made me feel because it called something out of me that I've been like fighting with. But I'm like, Lord, okay, all right, like this is what we gonna do, right? Like what are we gonna work with here? I remember Pastor Anthony specifically said something he says a lot in Transform Men, or even when he preaches for the men. What walks in the Father runs in the Son. Right. It's meaning that what you don't deal with as a man, your son is going to deal with exponentially more.
Wow.
Right. And I feel that now having a son, you know, my son is 3 years old. And I can't imagine him having to deal with or struggle with some of the things that I dealt with as a young man. And having to watch him face those things alone. And now that's why for me, I'm like, Lord, I gotta kill these demons, right? Like, I gotta, you know, there's an amazing book called Killing Kryptonite by John Bevere that I read a few years ago.
Is it good?
Yeah, really good. Highly suggest anything John Bevere. My wife and I call them our grandparents. I love grandparents.
Bro, I used to get the DVDs back in the day, and I would put them on for like my Bible studies.
What are those? No. Come
on, bro. You said Sacred Genesis earlier. Stop playing. That wasn't even DVD. That was the cassette. Yeah, the cassette thing. John Bevere is my guy. Yeah. Like I had one of my craziest craziest sermons that he used to have was I don't remember what it was called, but I had like 6 DVDs from him of like his sermons. Back now, you can just get everything on the internet.
Yeah.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But no, but that the book Killing Kryptonite, it talked about like, you know, removing the things that weaken you, right? What are the things that are kind of gonna keep bringing you down? And I'm like, Lord, I gotta kill this kryptonite so that my son doesn't have to deal with this, right? That son, I can't imagine seeing my little boy like have to suffer. Like, learn from daddy, like learn from what dad did, right? Or listen to me. And I feel like that's like the Lord talking to us sometimes, like talking to us sometimes, like, yo, listen to me. I'm your dad. I know better, right? And you're like, yeah, I think I can do it. And you're like, all right, fine, you know, go ahead, touch the stove. Touch the stove and see what happens, right? And then you're like, all right, touch the stove. He's like, well, yeah, I told you, if you touch the stove, te va a quemar. So yeah, man, that's what really kind of it sums up for me.
I was looking for the old DVD. I can't find it. I remember this one though, Intimacy with the Holy Spirit. I had that one too.
That's beyond me. I don't know.
But yeah, that's my grandpa pastor now too. He's getting old.
Oh yeah.
But he's always got the word on lock, so I'll probably check that out. But nah, bro, like 100%, man. Like, we have to go above and beyond to do the work. And I love that line from PA about whatever walks in the Father runs in the Son. That's insane. Yeah. And it's humbling.
Yeah.
It's like something that you have to contend with. And I think that that's the big reason why a lot of men shy away from a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because you got to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
You have to finally come to terms.
You got to look at yourself, and sometimes it's ugly because you've been doing all these things hiding from yourself. You've been hiding behind the alcohol. You've been hiding behind the porn. You've been hiding behind whatever other thing may be trying to fight you or trying to keep you there, that when you're stripped down and you have to look at yourself, like, that's tough. People don't want to deal with that. You don't want to have to look in the mirror and basically see like every imperfection of like things that you're dealing with called out.
Yeah.
Right. And that sucks. It hurts. And then to have to face it and work through it is the hard part. That people are like, they'll get to a certain point and they're like, I see it all the time, right? As you know, one of the leaders I've been leading a Transform for a little bit. You see it all the time. There's men that like, I want to change, but they get to a point where it's like, oh, now we're getting close to the thing that we're touching the nerve now. Yeah. And when you touch the nerve, some men don't like that. I don't need this. I don't have to change. Oh yeah. If it's if it's hurting you that much, if it's
that's the exact point you need to change.
Exactly, right. If I'm poking here and it's like, it's not even me, right? It's the word. If we're reading something and it's calling you out, then hey, that's something you got to handle. Let's handle that before it turns into something bigger. And now, like, your generations are dealing with the fallout from this, right? So.
Yeah. One of the things that I really like about so far, like what I've learned in about Transform and everything, is just how Pastor Anthony talks about how most men are good in one or two areas. So you kind of lean into those, and those become like your excuse in a way. But if you can master all 4 areas to a degree at least, imagine how much that would change your life, right? Like, I think that the Christian, right? The Christian man who genuinely loves the Lord is not happy.
Yeah.
He's never happy after binging porn.
No.
He's never happy after going a little too far down the bottle.
Yeah.
And it affecting his behavior. Mm-hmm. He's never happy for being nasty to his wife. Yeah. Right? And I don't mean the good nasty. I mean I mean like actually nasty to his wife, like hurting her feelings.
Yeah.
That never makes you feel good.
No.
Right? You have the Holy Spirit residing inside of you, and he's going to convict you of sin. And the saddest part about that is just how deeply we desire change in those areas as men, and how little we do to rectify it. Mm-hmm. It's like you're not submitting it to the Lord. You're not getting into community. You're not talking to anybody about it. And you want it to change so bad. Yeah. But you refuse to do the work. Yeah. There's this I have this thing called the whiteboard, which I have kind of like on this life dashboard that I have. And the whiteboard is basically just like what like usually I actually had a whiteboard before, right? Where whatever sentence or word the Lord gave me for a time, I would just put them on there, and I would only erase it when I felt like that time was over.
Yeah.
And the one that I'm at right now, my whiteboard word right now is do not beg God to fix your life while refusing to fix your actions. And how many of us are doing that? God,
Yeah.
free me from this.
Yeah.
God, change me in this way. God, change my situation. God, do this, while refusing to change who we are.
Yeah, that's it. And there's like a meme kind of thing on Instagram that I see a lot of women post. It's like, if he wanted to, he would.
Yeah.
Right? Talking about men.
Yeah.
If he wanted to, he would. And the fact of the matter is that, yeah, like if you wanted to do that, if you wanted to get better at that, you would do it. You would go do it, right?
Right.
Like I think about myself, like even with the brand, like I wanted to go and learn how to make t-shirts. So I did it.
Yeah.
Right? I took 2 months and I learned how to make freaking t-shirts.
Yeah.
Right? So if you say you want to be a better husband, go do it. Go learn what it means to be a better husband, man. You can go on YouTube. There's books. There's so many resources. If you want to learn how to be a better father, if you want to learn how to be better physically, right? Like surround yourself with someone who's already there physically, and then be like, all right, yo, teach me one thing.
Yeah.
And then do that one thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's preaching to the choir here, because I've been saying that. I've had a goal weight to lose for like 2 years. I honestly, it's a little bit of laziness, a little bit of, I don't know what else.
Circumstances.
Yeah, a little bit of circumstances. But for the most part, it's just like I have to just get back in and just surround myself again with the people that are going to be like, hey, get here.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. Like, I'm going to get here.
Right.
Because I want to. And because I need to, because God is calling me to get here. You know? So.
Yeah. You know, what's one thing I want to add to that too, since you brought up like women, like a lot of this is not just men stuff, right? Yeah. Like it applies to women who want to be excellent too.
Yeah.
And granted, it's centered a lot around men because one, we're men, and your brand is centered around men, right?
2026, you sure with me?
2026, you could be whatever you want to be.
Be whatever you want.
I am this fan.
There you go. I love lamp.
But at the same time, I wanted to highlight the fact that, especially in marriage, I think a lot of men out there really need to understand the fact that you, as the husband, and if scripture is correct, which it is, if scripture is correct that you are the head of the household, that means you have to take the brunt of things. You have to take it on the chin. Oh, but my wife doesn't want to do this, and my wife doesn't do that, and she doesn't speak. So, bro, you go first.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that one time, and he like laid it on me heavy. He was like, "You're the husband. You go first."
Yeah.
And I was mad when he told me that, because I was mad at Joe. I don't remember what it was. So if she watches this, she'll probably ask, also, what were you mad at me about? Right? I'm going to tell you right now, I don't remember. But I was talking to him, and I was just like, man, like I'm upset, blah, blah. Like I wasn't even that mad, but I was like upset, right? And I'm just like, I don't know, whatever. And he's like, nope, you go first. It doesn't matter if you're right.
Yeah.
You go first. You guys aren't talking to each other? Okay, you go first.
Yeah.
You need to initiate. You need to talk. You need to be the one that says sorry, even if she hurt you. And I was just like, that's not fair. Yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, it's not meant to be.
Yeah.
You lead.
It was not meant to be. It was not meant to be at all. And that's the crazy part, right? That I was telling my wife this a few weeks ago. Her and I were talking this same exact vein. I remember telling her, like, you and I, yes, we're partners, but we carry two different weights. You will never know the burden that God has placed on a man, right? Yeah. Because and we were talking about finances specifically, about looking for work and things like that. And so I was telling her, like, if let's say that she went to work out the home and I was a stay-at-home dad, and she lost her job, they wouldn't look at her for losing her job. They would be like, well, why isn't he working? Or like, why isn't he doing it, right? And then like, If something in the family goes bad, they're not going to look at her. They're going to look at me. What were you doing? What were you doing that this went wrong, right? What were you doing that all this stuff happened? What was dad doing that all these things happened in the family, all these things going on, right? So it doesn't matter. Like, yes, we're partners. I love you, but it's just not the same. It's just not the same because God just put more on us, right? Not because, yes, we can handle more, but also he's going to demand more of us. Like, there's, the word says to whom much is given, much is required, right? And God gave us a lot as men. It started all the way in the beginning, the very beginning, right? Right with Adam. I think one of the things that I always catch in when I'm reading through Genesis, going way back to the beginning, it wasn't until Adam ate the fruit that their eyes were opened, right? It wasn't until that point, right? Because if Eve had done it, I think it's always like a what if, right? What if Adam had corrected her? It'd be like, hey, he said not to do that. Now I gotta go ask for forgiveness from the Lord for both of us. But when he was just like, oh, okay, let me have some too. Let me eat from this tree. That's the word says that's when their eyes were opened, and then they saw that they were naked and all these things happened. Right?
There's so much in there, bro.
Right? Oh yeah, you can do a whole preaching right about why women messed us up. No, stop. I threw that in there for my wife. But yeah, man, and again, it's just like, yes, it is for both. Yes, women should live excellently. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation what that looks like, right? There's some women like my wife is like a stay-at-home mom, homemaker, whatever. She homeschools our kids. She does amazing. She takes care of the house. I love my wife, the way that she does things. And she does things in a way that I could never.
Yeah. Word, bro.
Right, and that's just like, it's an amazing thing, and
that's the beauty of men being men and women
being women. Right,
yeah,
she does what she does, and she does it excellently. She does it to a level, and she desires to do it to a level. And I see her, and I'm so encouraged.
Yeah,
right? And I'm just like she's just doing things. She's like, yeah, this is what I could do, but why do here when I could do here, right? And it may suck to get to a little bit of here, but man, when I see her aim for here and get to the one above it, I'm like, damn, babe, that's crazy. Now I got to step up.
Yeah.
You're doing it. So you're doing it so high, and it's so encouraging to see my wife, in the sense, living the motto of my brand, right? Like, she lives that. And it's just a constant reminder for me. Excuse me, sorry. Constant reminder for me that, like, you have to be constantly setting your standard higher. And again, going back to what you said, right? I'm in control of the standard I set for my life. I could put the standard here, which is like I use myself an example, like shooting weddings, right? I know how to work a camera. I could take a good picture. Here. Or I can go the extra mile and take an amazing picture at the same exact spot here, right? Either one they'll be happy with, but this level they'll be amazed and be like, wow, that was awesome. And this level they'll be like, oh, thank you, it's a good picture. You know, I have the ability to do both. What do I want to do? Do I want to just be like, oh yeah, I'm here at this level? Or do I want to be here and aim for that higher level with the same exact picture,
Yeah, man. I think there's so much value in here already, man, that there's so much value in striving to be like Christ, man. Yeah. And striving to like scripture says, reach the stature and fullness of him, right? And that's just like, even just thinking, like, if you really sit down and think about that, to reach the stature and fullness of Christ, like, that's mind-blowing. Yeah. Because his standard is so beyond our ability. And it comes back to what you said about how we can't do it on our own, right? And I think that's the key that becomes the moment that a decision needs to be made. That moment when you're getting offended, when you're like, I don't know if I want to continue here. I don't know if this is what I want to do. A lot of people think their choices are, okay, I'll do it anyway, or duck out. And so a lot of men choose to duck out. Yeah. But there's a third choice. The third choice is, I don't want to do it, Lord. Can you help me? I don't want to do it. Can you help me? And I think that's the best choice. Yeah. Because one, you're being honest. And two, you can rely on something that is outside of you to give you the strength that you need to overcome that area that is so difficult for you.
Look at Jesus when he was in the garden, right before he got crucified, right? Like Jesus was in the garden and he said, Father, like if you can, take this cup from me.
Yeah.
Even Jesus, he was like, Lord, what I'm about, you can only imagine what he was about to go through. And he was like, Lord, this is like, he knew what was coming. It was going to be bad. And he still, but he knew he was destined for it. But still, he was like, Lord, if you can, take this cup from me. If you can. And you're just like, oh my gosh. Like, if he needs his Father, right? Like, why do I think that I don't need God?
Yeah.
Yeah,
bro. Well, bro, let's close it out here. This was awesome. Such a great episode. I definitely one of my favorites. I'd love to hear from you just how people can get in contact with you if they want to like connect with you, and also how they can follow your brand as well.
Oh yeah, you can follow me at Company of the Elite on Instagram, all one word, company of the Elite _, and then find the brand at companyoftheelite.com. Super easy. We're the only ones out there. And yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here for today's episode. We're so glad that you guys got to watch. If you are still here, make sure that you watch this video that's popping up on the screen that YouTube says you will like in reference to how you've engaged with this channel. And if you haven't done so already, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, as my wife Joanna says when we do Good, Brave, and Heroic. Hit all the buttons, all right? That'll definitely help us to grow. And we hope you guys have a safe and amazing week. See you in the next one. Peace.